Thank you so much for joining. And today we're going to be talking about the energy for August 2025. And today is August 9th. It's the full moon in Aquarius. And I am not a professional astrologer. I've just been studying it since I'm 12, on and off most of my life. And I just welcome you in here because astrology is just a great foundation to help us understand what we're going through. And there's obviously everything else about our experience as a human being. So, first, I just want to ask you, have you been feeling weird lately? I'm hoping it's not just me, but for the last couple of weeks, I've just not been feeling myself. Let's see, I kind of had a panic attack. Oh, good. I'm not the only one. I had a panic attack like a week and a half ago. Um, maybe not a full-blown one, but I got myself all worked up because I thought there was something wrong with me at the moment. And I literally, I almost passed out, which I can laugh at it now. And I laughed at it probably 15 minutes later, but it was so real. And it just gripped my body. And if you've ever had one before, you know what I'm talking about. And again, I'm not sure if it was an exact full-blown panic attack, um, but it was not a good feeling. And then this week, I just got this migraine, just came on me, and it was not just these ailments, but it was the whole. It's hard to explain. It's hard to put in words, but it's just kind of the soup that we're in, or that I found myself in. I live on Long Island, and we were also hit with the wildfires from, I think it's kind of like central Canada. So we were getting the smoke. And if you've been in a situation like that where you're getting wildfire smoke, you know what I'm talking about. It's just this kind of pervasive white kind of blanket that's just kind of there in the sky. You don't see any sun, you don't see clouds. It's just this weird white blanket. And in the summer, that is such a weird. Hey there, thank you for joining, Tamara. It's such a weird experience to have that. So, and then it was my my feeling of how I felt. It was a very weird couple of weeks, and I think this week even more so. And although, the wildfire smoke has shifted and we're having gorgeous weather here, there's still this energy in the field that, again, it's that soup. So I'm just wondering if you've been feeling it too. And before we go any further, I just want to let you know about an online workshop I'm doing this Monday. And I hope you can join us. It's called Your Role in the Awakening Earth. And in this online workshop, we're going to talk about astrology, seismic activity, and our relationship with the planet and Earth, and how we can understand our specific role by looking at dreams, by looking at experiences, maybe peak experiences that we've had. Hello, Healthy Cottage. Thank you for joining. So I invite you to check it out. Just look at the link in bio, and I'm inviting you to bring a friend for free. So if you do sign up, just make sure you get me a message, either DM if you're on Instagram, or email me and just let me know the name and address, the email address of your friend. All right, great. Enough of the commercial. So just getting back to this very odd, weird energy. I mean, here we are in the summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's just been feeling very, maybe not fully oppressive, but partially just an interesting energy. And I'm just curious if you've been experiencing that too, if you've had any odd ailments that just kind of popped up, or actually feeling very tired. And we are, as light workers, energy healers, we're all really getting this tremendous um, sensitivity to our environment. I mean, most of us have had it our whole lives. Some of us, maybe just more recently. Yes, thank you, Jean. Absolutely. It's so good to hear that I'm not the only one. And I know for the last few years, there's been this real shifting of energies. The consciousness is really raising on this planet. We can start feeling it now. And maybe you have been feeling it for a while. And I have to admit that at certain episodes in the last couple of years, I really felt like the energy cranking up. And I'm not talking about, you know, the tragedies and the drama that we see in the news and the headlines and on social media. I'm talking about this background energy that's building and building and building. And I'm feeling myself wanting to kind of hunker down at home, not out of fear, just I want to relax, I want to rest. So maybe you're sharing that as well. And of course, I went out last night with some friends and had a lovely time on the water. Oh my gosh, the full moon. If you didn't see it last night, make sure you get out there and check it out. It is spectacular. So, just as you probably have seen, the seismic activity is really increasing. I follow and I highly recommend Stefan Burns. Hey, Bri. Stefan Burns is a YouTuber. He's a geophysicist who is, I think, brilliant because he pulls together the actual data on volcanoes and earthquakes and what's going on right now in the planet and any kind of like other geophysical events. And he correlates this to solar activity, coronal mass ejections, and solar flares. And you probably know we're in a solar maximum right now. And it's it's much stronger than they predicted. And we've been going through it for, well, it's a couple of years, but we've been really more in peak activity, I think, in this, like since the spring, really, really strong activity. What I love about Stefan Burns, I'm just doing a plug for him because I so enjoy his episodes. But I mean, he's on daily and sometimes more than daily, but he actually integrates the spiritual astrology, the planetary alignments. I say spiritual, but it's actually it's science. It's the planetary alignments and the resonances with our planet and the sun, and how when they have like conjunctions, which are when they're in alignment in the sky according to our view, they resonate off of each other and there is impact to us. So we've got, all of this solar flare activity and coronal mass ejections, which are sending light to our planet, sending bursts of electromagnetic energy. How do we think that that doesn't impact the crust of the earth? And he's actually tracking when we get these bursts and that there's this delay of a day or two when we have an event. It's just amazing. So I highly recommend checking him out. And I just want to take a moment to consider 2025 has been said to be a major turning point for us on this planet. And here we are in August. And I think every month I've been saying, yeah, I'm understanding that it's going to be better, it's going to be easier next month. Well, when the energies start coalescing and it's hard to predict, because, well, we have free will, but the energy is pretty intense in August, and especially this weekend. So let's unpack this for a minute. We have the full moon today in Aquarius, which is a very, a big event that we have every month, right? The full moon is kind of culminating what we started 2 weeks ago at the new moon. So you can kind of look at it at that like little a micro lens, but it's also kind of a big culminating cycle when you look at the new moon in Aquarius, which was 6 months ago, to the full moon. So there's that cycle from like February when the sun and the moon were in Aquarius to now. So there's a bigger cycle. And then there's even larger cycles, of course, embedded within that. So we have the full moon, and that is a monthly thing. It's pretty amazing. But we also have two grand trines. Well, we have one major grand trine, I believe. There may be two. Okay. So I'm going to just talk about the one that I know for sure, and that is Pluto, Uranus, and Mars. And those three planets are known as the bad boys in astrology. They're the planets that shake us, wake us up, get us to act, get us to think more in integrity. Um, there also can be on the negative side more warrior type of energy, sudden things. So this weekend could be very much turmoil. Here we are on Saturday morning. Um, whatever it is, it is. But just know that this will pass, right? So this weekend is rough. Now, why, you might say, if you know anything about astrology, why would grand trines be rough? Well, first of all, like I said, the planets that are involved, they have a little bit of a rough energy, but also because there's two major oppositions. One is between Pluto and Mercury, which forms a kite. And that, just imagine what a kite looks like, okay? So Pluto is the planet of transformation in the underworld, and it's facing or, opposing Mercury, the planet of communication and words. So just be careful how you come across. If you feel very strongly about something, really watch, take some breaths before you leap into sharing your thoughts, because you might regret it. It might come off a little too harsh. So just consider that. So there's that opposition. And then we have Mars opposite Saturn, Neptune. So those planets are Mars, again, is kind of the warrior planet. It's also the planet of action and get up and go. And it's opposing Saturn, which is the planet of integrity and doing the right thing and being disciplined and being responsible. So those planets are kind of at odds because Mars just wants to charge and Saturn is like plan. So they're at a bit of an odds. And of course, with Neptune next to Saturn, it makes this a little bit more complicated because Neptune wants to dissolve things. So there is definitely tension in the sky. But at the same time, because of this grand trine and because of this kite formation, there's also beneficial sextiles that are surrounding this. And, well, okay, so we have this, if you think about it, as just a challenging weekend, perhaps. I mean, don't go into this whole weekend going, oh, this is going to be a shit show, because just knowing the energy will get you a little bit just prepared in case you witness chaos around you. Yeah, this chaos may not hit you. You might just observe it, and maybe some loved ones are involved in a little bit of challenging situations, or maybe you will just witness it on the world stage. Ha! We're witnessing that every day, but the intensity could get a little crazier. So just know that. One thing I know for sure is going through these last 5 years, right? Having an understanding of the planetary alignments and how they're resonating and potentially impacting us has really helped me to be able to take a step back and to breathe, because I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but I also know that there's a really beautiful goal that we're heading toward. I understand that humanity is, I believe, awakening at a greater level than ever before. And the more of us that are aware and are conscious and present, the more of us will have an impact on others in a positive way, just being who we are. And the really important part of this is to be in a place of peace and joy. And I feel like I think I keep talking about this month after month, but it is walking our talk. So if we've been on this path of really coming into conscious alignment with who we are, working with our relationships, understanding this, uh, this interaction between us and everyone and everything is really from our point of view. So if we can like rise above and see, on the eagle's perch and be able to pull ourselves out and kind of emotionally detach from very interesting situations and relationships, we can kind of see it from above and get a new perspective. And I think that's one of the most important things right now. Living in a feeling of peace and joy, but also being able to be open and expansive and curious and allow ourselves to kind of shift our perspective on things, especially those situations or relationships where we feel the most pinch, to be able to step back, to breathe into it, and to see it maybe from a brand new perspective. And we are, it doesn't look like it, but I know that that kind of blanket of victimhood is being shaken up. And yes, I think that experience of victimhood is something we all have experienced. It's a human um, emotion, maybe, or it's not an emotion, but it's an ability to kind of shift blame away from us so that we don't have to feel responsible, right? That may seem like it's bigger than ever on the world stage, but know that it's only bigger, it appears bigger than ever because it's being brought to the surface and it's being amplified. It's being amplified so that we can see it. And many of us have seen it for a while, but more and more can see it for what it is. And that can then get released. And the more of us that can do that, the higher the vibration, the frequency, the consciousness of this planet will be. And the more of that, the more others will have opportunity to awaken. I'm always picking my words carefully because we all have free will and not everyone will have the free will to kind of move beyond victimhood, and that's their path. That's what they choose. But in this time, more in the next few years, more people than ever will choose to see it and start releasing that. So that's really very, I think, very hopeful. And I believe real, real, absolutely. So the solar flares and all this activity is bringing this higher vibration to our planet and is helping not just humanity, but all of the earth. And I really feel all the energy of this earth is like awakening. Not that it was asleep, but it's lifting up. So trees, plants, wildlife, our animals, our furry friends, furry family members. Hey, Marina. Um, they are all also shifting up in this frequency. And I feel that we all have a role to play in this awakening earth. And as I mentioned on Monday, I'm doing this online workshop. I hope you'd be interested in joining. We're going to get into that more, and we're going to dive into your particular role in this consciousness shift in these times to help shepherd in this new earth. There's a book that Eckhart Tolle wrote called The New Earth, which is just phenomenal. And I'm a big fan, and that is a great book to read. And this, I think, is because he wrote it, I think, in 2015 or 2014 or something. We're in that now, and we're really raising up. And it is all about kind of like dropping those shadow layers and becoming more conscious and aware. So very cool. All righty. Yes. Yes, Bri. Yes, it's so hard. People blame their illness and take no responsibility. It is hard. Yes, it is so hard when we see others that are really suffering, and we want to, we want to say, hey, you could have a totally new perspective, but that is not something that we can. I know I've been there. I've tried to explain it to people in a logical way, and it doesn't work unless somebody is finally open to it, because it is all about our free will. And it is so sad to see how people can suffer and not feel relief from that. So yeah, I completely understand. It is so hard to see our loved ones suffer. Yeah. So I think I just wanted to share here that as I was talking about this kind of acceleration of victimhood that we see on the outer stage, this is a digression from normal behavior. So we're certainly seeing that. And I want to say that our response to it isn't a test of our mettle. So don't feel like you're being tested by the universe to, retreat into that, you know, womb of peace and harmony and love. And that if you don't, you're kind of failing. We're human beings. We all we can do is just try and remember to kind of retreat back when we do, right? To kind of feel more spacious and expansive, because these energies are kind of constructed to make us contract and hold our breath and sink into fear and anxiety. And that is the opposite. That is the opposite that will help on a personal level if we can breathe into it and feel expansive and feel things like play and curiosity and wonder. The more we can be in those spaces, the better we can be. And so, yeah, the universe isn't testing us, but rather what we're seeing on the world stage is this, just imagine this really tightly wound black toxic energy is finally being loosened and revealing itself so that it can finally dissipate. And yeah, hey Kai, thank you for joining. It's so just imagine, right? It's been tightly wound up, and now it's rewinding. And when it rewinds, it's letting out its toxicity. But we're here for our own path. We have made our own like soul contract to be here at this time. So at whatever level we can do to be at peace within ourselves and help others in turn. And really, like yeah, was saying before, we can't really change somebody's perspective of a situation, but we can model it, right? We can be um, that energy ourselves because that does influence everyone around us. And just so interesting, this metaphor of a chrysalis, right? If you've been listening to astrologers, you hear this chrysalis, that we're the caterpillar in a chrysalis right now, kind of transforming, and we will finally emerge. And it was really interesting. A couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a couple of months ago, I had a dream that I was going for a job interview, and this young man was helping me, shepherding me through the process, and his name was Chrysalis in the dream. So wild, so wild. So what I do want to say in closing here, because I spent so much time on all this dark stuff, this weekend could be a challenge for you personally, but could be just what you see around you. And on Monday, it's like the clouds part because Mercury, who has been retrograde for 3 weeks, finally stations to go direct on Monday. And Jupiter and Venus are together in the sky. It's called a conjunction in the sign of Cancer. And those two planets are the benefics. So we kind of had the malefics all weekend, and now we've got the benefics. So Monday and several days after should be really beautiful, easy flowing days. I hope the energy flows for you, and I hope you have peace and are able to sink into wonder, joy, and playfulness this weekend. And remember on Monday, well, in this beautiful Jupiter and Venus conjunction, I just had to do this online workshop. So I hope you can join me. It's called Your Role in the Awakening Earth, and the link is in the bio. You get to bring a friend for free. You just need to let me know in a DM. Hey, Susie Q, sorry, we're finishing. But you will get to bring a friend to this online workshop on Monday, August 11th, called Your Role in the Awakening Earth. You'll see the link in my bio if you're on Instagram, and if you're on Zoom, you're on my newsletter, so you've already received the link. Yeah, I hope I get to see some of you, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday and Sunday, and big hugs to everybody. I'm going to stay on for another minute and talk just because a few people just joined. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just do a quick little summary. So, quick summary for August is interesting weekend with the full moon in Aquarius. It is also, so full moons are always culminating energy, but it also is accompanied by transits that are huge. There are two, what's called kite formations in the sky. And it is, the formation of it is a grand trine, which is a beautiful, very harmonious aspect in astrology, but it includes three. Enjoy, Jean. You're going to float down a river on Sunday. That sounds gorgeous. It includes the Grand Trine, the three malefic planets, Pluto, Uranus, and Mars. And these planets are, well, the planet of the underworld, the planet of lightning bolt events, and Mars, known as the warrior planet. So these are very interesting planets that, I hate to make it sound like these are terrible planets because these planets can bring amazing transformation and shift in our lives. So let's not think of them as really bad, but they are known as the bad boys. It definitely will bring change for sure in some way, either in your personal life, maybe in those around you, or on the world stage. And I think that's a given. But what kind of makes these grand trines, which are just beautiful, a little bit more challenging is the fact that Pluto is opposite Mercury. And Pluto is transformation, big transformation. And Mercury is the planet of communication and words and technology. So Mercury is also currently retrograde until Monday. So that could be a little bit of a challenge with conversations. And then we also have Mars, the planet of war, is opposite Saturn and Neptune. So that is also a very challenging aspect. So, okay, so that sets the stage. This weekend can be a little bit tough, but don't let that color or flavor your weekend. Just go with the flow. And as things occur, just know that, okay, this is the energy. And Monday, beautiful, beautiful conjunction between Jupiter and Venus in Cancer. And that is also going to be accompanied by Mercury finally going direct. So I don't know if you've experienced this. I know I started out talking about this feeling very weird lately, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. Just feeling off, feeling odd. The atmosphere also has been feeling very in limbo. That's kind of a good word. I like that. It felt like there was this white blanket over everything. And it wasn't helped by the fact that we had smoke from the wildfires come through the Northeast. So just kind of eerie. That's another word. Limbo, eerie, weird, odd, all of that. And even though the sun is out and it's beautiful out, there's still this lingering energy. So it's just been an interesting, we are going through interesting times, very interesting times. I think that that is a quote from somebody. Uh, I hope you live through interesting times. So we are, everybody. And I think when we look back in August, we will say, wow. Yeah, that was quite a month. It was quite a summer, the summer of 25. And actually, this whole year, we do have a lot of retrogrades. We're moving into retrograde season. Already some planets are in retrograde. And even though Mercury's coming out right now, Mercury goes into retrograde 3 times a year. But over the fall, we're going to have a succession of planets going into retrograde and finally coming out in like January, February, they'll start unfolding. And just my sense from those I follow, the astrologers, the professionals, that January, February will be like really different energy and much, much better. Is that the word to use? I'm not sure if it's the right word, but we won't be in the thick of it as we are now. And I know for sure that energy time is accelerating. And one astrologer had, oh, actually, no, Lee Harris, who's uh, a channel, he's amazing. Lee Harris, he said, don't try to slow down time, but adapt your relationship to it. Because time isn't going to slow down. And I think that's really good advice. So, on that note, I think I'm going to leave you all. Just want to say, check the link in my bio if you're interested in coming on Monday. It will be recorded. It's called Your Role in the Awakening Earth. And I hope you join us. We're going to kind of dive into a dream or an experience that you've had to help you uncover your role in this awakening earth. So thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you next time. All right, everybody.